Now let's bring you updates from the global oil market, and of course prices are still trending higher this morning thanks to a lower than expected gain in the US crude inventories and the start of output cuts in a bid to offset a slump in fuel demand triggered by the coronavirus pandemic. Brent crude for July delivery, which started trading on Friday as the new front-month contract was up 4.2% at $27.58 a barrel in early trade after surging 12% on Thursday. U.S. crude for June delivery climbed 7.3% to $20.21 a barrel, having gained 25% in the previous session. Another significant support factor for the market today is the official start of output cuts agreed between the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and other major producers like Russia, a group known as OPEC+, to counter sliding demand. International Labour Day is an official public holiday in various countries. It's observed every year to pay tribute to the contribution of workers across the world. Now, this year's event comes with a significant difference in view of COVID-19 effects and the dislocation in the social order of things orchestrated by the lockdown order. Well, this brings to bear the uncertainties staring the face of workers, especially in the private sector. Joining me now to talk about the significance of this day and the way forward for Nigerian workers is the Group Executive Director, Strategy, Capital Projects and Portfolio Development at Dangote Group, Mr. Devakumar Edwin. Good morning and thank you for coming on the program.
Morning.
Good to have you in the studio finally.
Thank you very much.
All right, so tell us how significant this day is for you first as an employee and an employer of labor.
Well, as an employee, actually have to sympathize with fellow employees globally. You can see US, 25 million people lost jobs. There has been very significant job losses in most parts of the world, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia. Probably it's only China where relatively the job losses are very few, because we do a lot of businesses with China. From what we hear, there has not been any major job losses. So for the workers, as they are celebrating the International Labour Day, it's not a very happy day globally. And as an employer, it's the same, because an employer can go and invest, buy technology, buy machines, which all need money. But at the end of the day, if we don't have the people, nothing can work. So people are your real ultimate assets. And if those assets we are not able to pay and retain the assets because the businesses are not doing well, your business goes down. You go down along with your employees. So it's not that the employees are losing jobs. When the employees lose jobs, the employer is losing equally, if not more. So it's not such a good day.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Edwin. Now, on a day like this, what do you make of the ILO's warning that as job losses escalate, nearly half of the global workforce is at risk of losing their livelihood because of the coronavirus pandemic?
Personally, I don't look at the job losses as a very long-term loss, except in certain sectors. For example, the aviation sector has taken a big beating. So the financial impact is going to be long-lasting. So obviously, it will be a long-lasting impact. But in most of the other sectors, hopefully the businesses will revive fast. And there are countries, for example, the US, which became a net exporter of crude, Nigeria, which depends upon a lot of income from crude. The economic impact is going to be lasting longer. But just as there are crude producers, there are crude users. They are going to benefit a lot because of the lower oil price. So they will find it very favorable in their books, and they will do much better. So the short-term impact because of the shutdowns and lockdowns in various countries has thrown a lot of people out of employment and out of businesses. But the long-term, in the next 2-3 months, I expect a lot of businesses to revive, except those which are going to face impact because of country-specific issues. Like for us, I'm also the president of Chemical and Non-Metallic Product Employers Federation, which is the largest subsector under MAN. And I know how many of my people are going to be affected because of lack of availability of foreign exchange, but which is a reality because the income has come down in the country. So there are many of our fellow businessmen may find a long-term impact, but others, once the lockdown is lifted, people will come back and the factories will start producing.
All right, Mr. Edwin, just hold on to your thoughts. We'll continue the conversation in just a moment with Mr. Devakumar. Edwin, please stay with us. Welcome back. The Group Executive Director, Strategy, Capital Project and Portfolio Development at Dangote Group, Mr. Devakumar Edwin, is still here with us in the studio talking about the significance of Workers' Day and how it affects everyone. Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you.
Edwin. Okay, so what are board members like you learning from this pandemic about your disposition to workers and their welfare considerations?
Well, you must be aware that many of the companies, including banks, have already gone for a salary cut for many of their staff. And quite a few companies have even laid off their staff. So it is affecting the welfare of many of the workmen. But take, for example, Dangote Group. We have maintained all our staff. We have not reduced even a single staff. And though there has been 1 month complete shutdown, we have paid our salaries in full for all our staff. In fact, I even saw something in the social media that Dangote Group is stopping the salaries for the people in proportion, whereas the guys who put it didn't realize on the same day that all the staff got their full salaries. So, but it's a question of affordability. We can afford, and we also realize that it's not good to hit the employee when they are already down. So it's good that even if we have to spend, though we have no income, you spend the money now, it's like a long-term investment because it boosts the morale of the people, it boosts the loyalty of the people. They will think, okay, though the company didn't have an income, they paid my salary in full. So they'll be much more loyal to the company. So this is something which companies can do, but it also depends upon the affordability of each company.
Still talking about your activities at Dangote Group. Now, there's this rumor making the rounds that in spite of the lockdown, some workers of your company are forced to go to work and are conveyed in a bus. What do you have to say about that?
Well, to begin with, the government has allowed essential operators to operate. We have port operations. We have 2 companies in port operations. We are into food business. We are into sugar. We are into salt. So all the food businesses and the port operations, just like the government has permitted pharmaceutical companies, anything related to food, pharmaceuticals, port operations, the government has clearly permitted. So based on that, so all those companies have to operate. So if we want to operate, and if there is not much of public transport available, it's good that you go arrange the buses as long as the social distance is maintained in the buses. And as long as you are able to enforce whatever is required to protect the health of your staff. And we ensure that the staff, before they enter, their temperatures are monitored. We have cameras or we have thermometers. And as they enter in, we also ask them to sanitize the hand. So as they will not bring any virus into the workplace from their hands. And we ensure that they wear masks so that they will not be passing on the virus to others. And if they have the virus, and we also ensure that they frequently wash their hands with soap and water, we are making it mandatory. So we are putting in controls and measures in the interest of the staff because we want to protect their health. But at the same time, we also have to understand the realities of the country. Take Lagos, 20 million population. You leave them in their houses. I have been to the houses of some of my cleaners, some of my lowest paid workmen. And if you go there, they live in rooms. We just put the mattress in the room, 5, 10, as much as the room can take, the people sleep in those rooms. So you lock them down, and you have, for a lot of people, a common toilet and shower where they have to queue, where they have to be together. The chances of the virus spreading is also quite high. Relatively, when they come to my workplace, at least I ensure that I measure their temperature every day. Now we are trying to measure their oxygen level every day, so that because they say that that could be a significant factor even before the temperature comes up. So we put protective measures to take care of the health of the people.
That's good. Now, I know you operate across the industrial goods, consumer goods, as well as oil and gas sectors, but tell us, what do you make of banks that have contributed billions of naira towards the fight against COVID-19, but have actually terminated the employment of some of their staff?
Well, going forward, the banking industry is one industry which is going to take a significant hit, because what they are doing now is, from what they have earned, their profits, they are sharing, just like most of the other companies are doing. But as an industry, each industry has to look at to see what's going to happen going forward. If they do not prune down their costs in an intelligent way today, the long-term impact will be maybe a shutdown, or many more employees may lose money. So it's like this: if my income is going down, it's better I prune down the expenses today and balance it well, rather than spend today everything, and then my whole family will starve because I don't have cash. So it's a question of balancing act which they are trying to do.
Just a few days ago, the World Safety Day was marked globally, and the ILO has been advocating the adoption of occupational safety and health to combat COVID-19. What approach can companies actually leverage at this point, particularly now that the lockdown is gradually eased, apart from working from home, for instance?
Well, there are certain aspects of the business where probably they can continue to work from home, which is one of the areas which we are looking at, which the banking industry is looking at, many others are looking at. And there are activities where the person has to be present. I mean, as I said, food, pharmaceuticals, they are all industries which have been working. Other industries will open out. Workmen have to be physically present to operate the machines, to pack the products and load them and send them out. So here, as you know, today we have come to the level of the third stage of coronavirus in Nigeria. So it's a community spread. And the key aspect in community spread is those who are asymptomatic cases. So symptomatic cases you can easily eliminate by checking the temperature, but asymptomatic cases are the most important ones, which will cause this rapid spread in communities, as you have seen in China, as you have seen in US and other countries. So maintaining the WHO standards, which they are prescribed specifically for COVID, is very key to ensure that the community spread is curtailed at this stage.
Group Executive Director, Strategy, Capital Projects and Portfolio Development at Dangote Group, Mr. Devakumar Edwin, thank you for speaking with us on Business Morning.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.